Midas had never been so scared in his life. He was the one with the weakest body and knew he would be the one hurt most. He didn't want to go through that. He took a half step back to walk away. Midas, I know you're young. I know this is a lot for you. But ask yourself, what would you give to beat Ion at his own game? It won't be quick, but if you can pay the price, I'll show you how. Some competitive spirit he had never felt before seemed to stir in him. He didn't want to get beat up by Connors and the others, but he really didn't want to keep being beat up by Ion. Losing was the worst, and for a high price, he could be a winner. Midas held his feet firm despite his fear. Superhuman combat is unpredictable. You need more moves than a bowl of jello on a roller coaster. You can't plan too far in advance. You need a good set of tools and instincts. Your tools start with the old favorites, being in the best shape possible, learning the most proven combat techniques. Learn when to apply them, and combat. You can talk all you want, but one rule is eternal. He who fights most, fights best. Given the same powers and training, the one who gains the most experience will win. Let's get started. Connor started them off with some basic moves, the same kind he had been working on with Olympian every day. She had already learned these from her father. Then the mood changed. Connors called Olympian forward and asked him to execute a maneuver. Olympian tried and Connors hit him. It sounded like thunder cracking. Olympian flew back into the side of the pit and didn't get up quickly. For the first time since he was much younger, Olympian saw stars from the blow and staggered to his feet. His nose was bleeding and broken. Every time you botch an attack, you'll pay. Just like in real combat. Shake it off and try again, Connor said. Olympian had always thought himself excellent in combat. Now he was being held to a higher standard. He blew the blood from his sinus cavity and shook his head. Never make a big deal out of losing, he thought. Olympian was concentrating hard now, putting all his concentration on his attack. Olympian executed the maneuver perfectly and struck Connors with all his might. The blow reverberated like a deep thud that shook the air. Olympian pulled his fist back to see Connors standing in place. Good hit. Now do it again, Connors said. They were paired up again and again, back and forth. Midas was paired with either she or Saber, both 20 times or more his strength. His best strikes did little to them. Midas, however, was getting really hurt. To his credit, he kept getting up and trying again. Olympian caught Darkspeed off guard on one strike. Nobody knew what happened, if Darkspeed blinked, coughed, or just let Olympian hit him. Darkspeed crashed back into the side of the pit and couldn't get up. Are you all right? She asked him first. Darkspeed had all the wind knocked out of him and was bleeding dark blood from several places on his head thanks to the large steel cubes on the side of the pit. He stood after a few seconds. He took a deep breath and his eyes cleared. Then the other alphas watched his super speed healing close his wounds and the scars to fade in less than a minute. You heal faster than I do, she said in disbelief. Dude, your blood is almost black, Olympian blurted. Always has been, Darkspeed said softly. His regeneration is linked to his speed power. It allows for very rapid healing. Now, let's start powered combat. No darkness or invisibility. 2-on-2, Connors said, giving them little rest. After training, Saber thanked Connors for the opportunity to train with them and went back to his own dorm. The Alphas from First Team made their way back to their dorm common room. Inside, Bioforce and Virtuoso were still doing schoolwork. It's 2200, and look what the cat dragged in, Virtuoso said jokingly. Oh no, Bioforce said as they came closer. What happened to you four? Virtuoso said as they both jumped to meet them. Each of the first team looked like they had been through a cage match. Training happened, Olympian said. Here, sit down, Virtuoso said, leading Midas to a couch. I'm all dirty, he said, still dazed. We can make a new one later. Bioforce was healing Olympian. Despite standing like nothing was wrong, he was hurt worst of all. Several cracked ribs, a broken one, broken nose, cuts, mild concussion, 2 bones in your right hand. What were you doing? Bioforce asked while she started the healing process. I kept trying to fight Connors. It didn't work out so well, Olympian said while still masking his pain. Tough is one thing, stupid is another. Bioforce was finishing up with her healing. There, you're all better. Now wash up, you stink. Greek super sweat. I should bottle it, Olympian said jokingly. Now that the pain was gone, he felt much better. Darkspeed gave Olympian a push on the shoulder, and both of them headed off to their own rooms. Bioforce made her way to Midas, who was seated. She touched him and scanned his wounds. Her eyes popped wide when she did it again. What's wrong? You can't heal me? Midas asked. No, you're healing yourself, Bioforce said with amazement. I mean, as a near miss, you heal much faster than a normal person. I sensed that yesterday. But now you're healing like Olympian. About a day's worth in an hour. You didn't heal like that yesterday. Well, can you speed it up? Let me check something first. Bioforce closed her eyes and placed both hands on Midas and scanned him deeply. Okay, now let me heal you. A wave of relief spread through him like a flood and he was healed. Oh, that's better. Midas stood and went to the refrigerator for a drink. What's wrong with him? She asked. Nothing's wrong, Bioforce said to she. His matrix power, the one that his building power comes from, it was healing him. It was kind of slow compared to your regeneration, but it was working. I also noticed that it was doing a perfect or more than perfect job. You wouldn't call what I did in the pit perfection, trust me, Midas said between gulps. No, I mean it wasn't healing you like a human or a near miss. It was healing like regeneration. No scar tissue. Do you have any scars? I don't know. Take your shirt off and let me see, Bioforce said as she stepped closer. I don't think so. Why? Because you're a girl. I'm studying to be the team's doctor. Well, until you are a doctor, we won't be playing doctor, Midas said firmly. It's not that big a deal, Bioforce tried to reassure him. Maybe not in Europe, where clothes are optional. Berlin's cold, moron, Bioforce said as she folded her arms. Can't you just scan for scars? She said. I guess so, Bioforce said and put her hands on Midas again. She scanned deep and looked into all areas of his body. Do I have scars? Midas asked. Joseph, I can't believe you don't know if you have scars, she said. I was a near miss with regular kids. I worried about scarring them, Midas answered. No scars. You may have always healed completely, even when you were a baby. You're still healing now, Bioforce said. I thought you said I was healed, Midas said. You are. I think your body is trying to adapt. It's like the matrix power is trying to infuse itself into all parts of your body, to strengthen them, or rather, to make them more durable. So, when Jet hits me tomorrow, it won't hurt? Bioforce scoffed and said, No, it's just a trace amount. You probably won't notice a difference tomorrow, but after a while, it might help you. Well, better than nothing. I need to get cleaned up into bed. Good night, all, Midas said as he headed to his room. I think we should all get to bed. We have less than 8 hours before we do it all over again, she said.